Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about how to get paid ML internships off campus and on campus. When I say paid, I am not talking about shady companies who pay peanuts, but somewhere you can make an impact with your work. And also, we are going to not talk in detail about research internships because that's another video in itself. We are going to discuss where to look, the variety of positions you can apply for, what type of questions are asked, and what kind of work you'll be doing. We are all members of DSC Kit and have gotten ML internships in our first, second, and third years. We'll start with introductions, how we got into ML, and continue from there. Hi, I'm Priyanshi. I am in my third year right now, 2023 batch. I work as an applied ML intern at Find, and I also contribute to PyTorch Ignite as part of GSOL. I got into ML in my first year. I was always fascinated by it, and I wanted to know like what crazy math translates into this black magic, I guess. Over the time, I got more interested in the application part of it, the code part of it. I found like some cool colleagues along the way with similar interests, and I'm still learning. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Bishwar Bhattacharjee. I'm from third year and 2023 batch. I actually got in ML from my class 12th, I guess, somewhere around that. I was really passionate about ML from that time, and somehow I got into the Twitter space of the ML. And from that, like, it just opened a new world for me. And I just kept learning and learning. So after I came into the college, I made some projects, like had some hackathons, specifically ML related hackathons with few of my friends. And yeah, so like that I climbed the ladder somehow to make little advanced projects, maybe you can say. And then got two internships, and right now I'm working with a fashion based startup right now as an NLP engineer intern.
So hello everyone, I'm Shayamnath. I'm a third year undergraduate student at Gate University. I'm a data scientist at Codeberg AI, and I'm passionate about ML from my class 12. And currently, I'm doing my GSOC under TensorFlow organization. Also, I am contributing heavily to the Keras coding examples, some TensorFlow lights, and some TensorFlow repositories. So yeah, this much from my side.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashish Arya. I'm in my final year of computer science engineering, and as Priyanshi said, I'm a part of DSC Kit ML team. Apart from working as a full-time NLP intern, I'm also a guided project instructor at Coursera. So I joined DSC Kit while I was in my third year, and the main objective was to connect with like-minded people, work on projects, and also help my peers and at the same time learn from them. For me, my ML journey started when I was in my second year of my BTech journey, and I took various courses from Coursera, Udemy, and online platforms. Gradually, I developed interest in this field, and later, when the pandemic started, we were all locked in our homes, and I had a lot of free time, so I decided to invest it, and I started taking various courses on deep learning and data science.
Hi everyone, my name is Anshul Chaudhary and I'm in fourth year of KIT University. And I'm a data automation engineer in a company which I'm not sure I'm allowed to take the name of. And yeah, unlike you guys, I have a simple story. One day my friends got up and had a class of machine learning from one of our peer learning classes. So I just got away with them, and yeah, and that's how I got into machine learning.
Okay, the next question is like, when did we all like start applying to internships? Like, where, when, and how many did us have to like apply before we get that first interview in our life? I'll answer that first. So I started for applying internships somewhere around at the end of my first year, actually. So just, there's a gap between the end of the first year and the start of the second year. So at that space, actually, and I fixed my LinkedIn properly at that time. I used to like cold message recruiters and like different persons from the companies that I feel like pretty cool startup right now going on. So in that way I got one internship that was as a data science intern. So I was working with Sapio Analytics. So I had to do some few projects in that, and yeah, that was my first internship. But I'm kind of lucky in my first internship because I hadn't had to try that much in it, because I did 2 projects, I guess. It wasn't anything much projects at that time, but yeah, it wasn't that many, of around 10 to 12 resume submissions, I would say.
I guess I can add something to that, and I would like to mention like the general format when you're applying to off-campus internships. It's like first, like again, you will apply to the post, and then either like you get a small like introductory call, but mostly it's like you are given a take-home assignment to like judge, and like you're given like a 1 week period to complete that. And after you submit that, the interviewer like judges like what you're doing, and then you're called upon to answer questions related to that. And after that there can be like subsequent rounds, and then finally the HR call. So I started applying to internships like January end, I'd say, and I had to like apply like 200 to 200 positions to get like my like internship at Find. And even like the Find internship process, it was a long way, because it started like February starting to like March middle, that when I got, and there were many interviews, but in the end it was all worth it. I used like I applied for Find in LinkedIn, from LinkedIn, but I think the most common platform is also AngelList, which you can keep checking out for startups. And then there are also sites where that only like accept remote people. So I will like link out all of that down in the description.
For me, I started applying in the internships when I was in my third year, so around August or somewhat around that period in 2020. So getting internships for ML role can be really tough because this field generally requires some prior work experience. So what I would suggest and what I have learned from my experience is that we should try applying for startups rather than going for the MNCs. First benefit will be that you will get some exposure and you will get the work experience at the startup. Secondly, the startups are the best place to learn and apply whatever you have learned so far. So you can generally make job alerts or internship alerts on LinkedIn. So that's how I got my first internship as a deep learning intern at AITS. Prior to that, I had applied at tons of places and I was rejected. But it is all part of the learning process. Okay, so it helped me in my growth, and it helped me to basically pay attention where it was needed.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ashish. I mean, applying in a startup is a really good idea to get an internship in machine learning and AI. And for me, I was searching for internship programs, basically programs such as DARD, Max Planck, and many more, MITEX, etc., etc. And yeah, I've also cold mailed at least, I guess, 200 professors from all around the world, from Germany, from America, from India. And sometimes they didn't really even answered and not even replied back, and when they replied, there was something like, I'm sorry, I cannot take you because I have some work going on right now, and we cannot we cannot recruit you because of the COVID thing as well. And I started filling these forms somewhere around my end of second period. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's a rough road to take, but I think applying in startups are a good idea right now. And also, you can try with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a great platform for you to get a reach and connections with different persons who are, maybe founders or maybe hiring managers, etc., etc.
My story is also similar. Like when I applied for my first time in the startup, I got a take-home assignment. Then I completed that. Then they liked that, and they contacted me with the HR, and all the formalities were being done. And it was before coming to college. Then I completed that. It was remote completely. Then I finished that internship, and then the second company, that is Codework, they checked my GitHub. I have worked with them previously, but not on ML domain. But they liked me, and they checked my GitHub and open source contributions. They liked me and they offered me as a full time. So I was like, yeah, why not? As I'm getting a good position. And after that, few days back, like few months back, not days, I got a referral from my friend uh, that there is a position open. They want a full stack engineer plus a data scientist who can work on OCR and all the stuff. So can you join there? So I was like, yeah, I can. Like I can join. So then I got in touch with the company's CEO. Then they just set an interview with the ML team lead, and then when the interview got over, I got a call from the HR that you have been selected. Then these are the things which have been done, and I signed that thing, and all the things are pretty good.
I just like to add a small thing that I forgot. In LinkedIn, like sometimes because like whenever positions open, like there are 200 or 300 applicants at. So how do you like differentiate yourself? Always like reach out to the person who like posted that job posting, and also like Google that company and drop them like a message. Like hey, also like attach your resume too. Like I'd applied to this. Check out my resume. We can chat if you want to, and yeah, that's how you can differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I have to agree with Priyanshi. Basically, completing your profile at LinkedIn would help you get a job.
Yeah, and one more thing, K, you can write all your roles and responsibilities you have done or you have achieved during your internship period, so that if any recruiter will see your profile, they can obviously know that okay, you worked on this stack and you know this thing, so it will be a good thing. And for the research internship, I guess you have to bulk mail many of the professors. Like I've mailed 10 professors and got one reply, and currently I'm doing a research internship under Jalapur University professor. So it was a bit like you have to try and can't give hope.
Also, like while cold messaging someone from the LinkedIn, always try to like keep it really concise, really small. So it shouldn't contain any kind of like unnecessary infos in it, because if it's a bit too long, they won't even open it actually. So even though they open it, they will just see that person is kind of pretty much desperate for the job or something like that. So keep it pretty concise, and it has kind of always worked to get a reply back.
I also want to add something to that always add a referral in a cold mail when you cold mail to some professor or something, because that's the main milestone basically that they would want to see. Okay, this guy knows somebody who is in contact with me, so they would they would excite them to read your mail completely.
Yeah, agreed. I guess that is like more specific to research internships, because like a professor
Yeah.
seeing another professor would relate. Yeah, but in like if you're applying to normal internships, that's all right. You can skip that part.
So, how did you guys prepare for machine learning and AI internships and interview? So, yeah, I'll go first, and I studied from Andrew Ng, god of the AI, basically. His Coursera courses are really good, to be honest, right now, and he also has 5 deep learning courses on Coursera. I also studied from Udemy A to Z machine learning, and that was also really cool, and it helped me. Rest assured, you can guys go for Medium blogs. They are completely helpful. Not gonna lie, they are literally helpful, and also you can reach out and see for DSC's blogs as well.
Okay, I guess it was like different when I like studied just for like making projects, but then when there was an interview like that I had to attend, quickly like getting familiar with the concepts. There are like 3 things, and in that order: Twitter, GitHub, and YouTube. So from Twitter, if you like follow ML Twitter, you will like get resources a lot. And I think in the article that we mentioned, we will link it down. In the like the final footer section, you will find out like famous Twitter accounts that you can follow, and I'll also like link down some of the other tweets that are very helpful. And so that is where you will get a knowledge, because there are many resources for ML interviews. Coming to GitHub, then there are like very curated repos, like awesome ML interview repos. It will like you can get familiar with basics. For YouTube, there's a really good MIT course, 6S191, and it's just 6 videos, but it covers a very wide range of topics. I wouldn't recommend it someone who wants to go deeper, but if you just want to like know these are the topics, you can go with that. And it's I would also like to mention like Krish Nayak's data science interviews. Those are pretty good. Like if you just want to like if you got bored and you just want to like see someone, it's like he interviews like calling people from his subscribers, and it's pretty interesting to watch.
For me, I started preparing for interviews and all through Coursera and Udemy, just as I told in the beginning. I also took reference from Udacity's courses from Udacity's and many YouTube videos. I watched some of them. So apart from that, major thing which added to my experience and which helped me to prepare for various interviews were interviews itself. So they helped me a lot whenever I applied to a particular position regarding ML or deep learning as a deep learning intern. So the questions which were asked to me, the projects which I was made to work on, and everything that was part of the screening process, I learned from them. The rejections which I got, so I learned from that. Whatever am I liking and where I need to pay attention.
Yeah, so basically, I also did the same. Like I did follow courses on Coursera of Lawrence Moroney and Andrew Ng. I have a talk with GDEs that what to do and have a roadmap that what can we do in the computer vision field, because I am in that field, love that field. So doing that courses, then there are Stanford courses, MIT courses. You can go for that if you want to for in-depth knowledge. Just I want to say that if you are up for an interview, then they will ask you basic questions first, because they will not jump that about anything, but they will still ask that what are activation functions, what is softmax and all other things, what is max pooling, why max pooling is used. They will ask this type of questions, and they can even ask that how backpropagation works. Can you explain it with the help of the thing? So these are things which is very much important. You should keep that in mind, and just focus on your projects. Build some good projects. Do model optimization with the help of quantization of coding.
For me, it was, as Priyanshi said, it was mostly 90% from Twitter, I would say. I have to give it my credit. And at my initial phase, it was from Andrew Ng. So at that time, I actually learned my initial ML from him. But after that, I took somewhat like an year gap. So I kind of forgot what I really studied before. So I just kind of skipped, and I then moved on to StatQuest. So there's a channel called StatQuest by Joshua Stammer. He makes amazing statistics videos. Like, just see, they're
Animations
so
as well.
jolly. And yeah. So StatQuest played a pretty big role in clearing my concepts. And also in Twitter, if there's one person, I would say that's Elvis. So there's one guy called Elvis. You can just Google him in Twitter. He shares amazing beginner resources, and yeah, he shares lots of stuff, not only beginner, even advanced stuff and everything. Also, I really liked one course like which went from the basics to a really advanced part, like even till energy based models. I would like to say there's a course by Jan LeCun, New York University. So it's called NYU Deep Learning. You can just Google or like put it in YouTube. NYU Deep Learning. There's a whole course, and it's just amazing. So I use those mostly to clear my concepts, and yeah, that's how I did.
Yeah, so also want to add that StatQuest and 3 Brown 1 Blue are some of the greatest channels in YouTube for animations and clearing your basics. Yeah, they don't go much into deep, but you can basically clear your everything from the basics of machine learning and AI.
The next question will be, what are our interview experiences? So let's talk about the interview process of our current role right now. My role right now is of an NLP engineering intern. So first got the internship at that time. The first step was to obviously get shortlisted using my resume. And after that, there was a round where my NLP lead actually sent me a task. It was a take-home assignment. So actually that had a heterogeneous form of data. So there was textual data and also tabular data. So I had to combine them and find a pretty good reports, I would say, like classification reports and other regression reports out of it. And yeah, so it was actually a previous Kaggle contest. So it was taken from that, and it was a pretty famous Kaggle contest. If you can search, it was Stumble Upon Dataset, something like that. So yeah, that was my take-home assignment at that time. So I solved it. That time was really low though. Time was somewhere around like 3 to 4 days. So I had to work really hard on that because it took somewhat of time to me, like to clean the data and all stuff, because it was really noisy. So that was it. And after the take-home assignment, I submitted. And okay, so after you apply for internships, like when you're going through the process, always, if you don't like hear back from the recruiter or someone, so always send them follow-up mails. So just like in a gap of 2 days, not more than 2 days. Like also, like if you see that they are pretty responding easily, they're responding easily to everything properly, then you don't have to send follow-up mails. They will just send you anyways the next steps. But yeah, so I did send follow-up mails because the response was slow, because they were interviewing many candidates at that time. And after that, there was a round where I had to get on with the NLP lead and I had to explain my solutions and everything. Then there was a pair programming kind of round, so he just like shared his screen and I actually shared my screen, and we had to solve some questions. Like he like told me to write some functions, and like how do you write cross entropy from scratch, something like that. So you can just use NumPy and just write it. So those kind of questions were there. So that was the first round of my interview. So after that, I had my next interview around 2.5 weeks around, yeah, after 2.5 weeks. So it was with the director. So at that time I had to show one of my project which is like totally deployed or something like that, so which I can like literally talk about. So what I did, everything from like start from the scratch, like how did you collect the data set, how did you build it and all stuff. And yeah, so actually I had to also screen share and then like open whiteboard and just draw the systems and architecture. And after that, actually I have used attention on my model at that time, and he told me to like define attention from scratch. So I had to like write the equations and like how attention really works. I had to show him that. So okay, he was impressed by that. And yeah, it took a little bit of time to get the reply from him, but yeah, I got the job after around 2 weeks more. So it was a month-long process kind of. So yeah, from whole March 15 to April 15.
Okay, I guess I can go. Well, again, like January end, I applied to find like the position was deep learning intern, and after that, again, I cold mail like everyone on LinkedIn. One of the like engineers working there reached out to me and be like, let's get on an introductory call. And that's where like I introduced myself, told him about what I've been working on, and then he gave me a take home assignment. He didn't mention the time I was about to finish in, but I always like had it in mind. The sooner I finish, the sooner I get that interview. So for like 2 days, I just like, it was a simple task, but for 2 days I had to like stay awake and like go through all the approaches, and I tried to complete it and it in record time. The task was actually it's the data set was given, and all you had to create was a segmentation mask of eyes and lips, given like a facial data set. It's called Celebi. And after I completed that, I reached out to him, and he was actually pretty impressed. He was like, I thought like I would give you a week, but since you did it right now, let's get on a call. And after we got on a call, again, basic introduction, asked me a few like questions like Shine mentioned about ML. Again, because I wasn't like expecting that, and I was preparing like TSA heavy interviews, I had like forgotten my concepts. I'm very embarrassed about that. And but then he moved on to the DSA part, and I kind of like nailed that. So he was like bit confused like what to do. So he was asked me like a simple code implementation, and he asked me to run it on my editor. So when I opened my editor, I was actually like learning how to write modern C++, and he saw my implementation and the code, and we struck up a conversation there about like latest like the C++ release, and we started talking about like what was happening. So that was actually the plus point. He saw my code, and his like verdict was, you know how to write code, know how to like good code, but you need to brush up on your concepts. So take a week or two and tell me like when you want to like interview again. So that was like a very good thing. And during that like 2 weeks midterms were going on, I was like preparing for this side by side. Again, after that 2 weeks, we had the call, and I was able to answer all the questions that he asked. But after that, again, we had another interview in which I was like on camera and my screen was sharing, and he gave me the unit paper, and he asked me to like sit there and take as much time I wanted, but implement that paper from scratch. That was pretty fun. I know it was a bit tiring, it was a bit intimidating at like during the first half an hour, but it was pretty fun after that. And well, after that there was another interview. Like, it wasn't an interview, it was just like he was making sure I was in the right team. And yeah, that's so my role changed from deep learning intern to like applied ML intern, but it's pretty fun that I got to work on that. Yeah, but it was a very long process, like 1.5 months. And yeah, that was
For me, I got my first internship around August 2020. Firstly, it was a scholarship program. So I got selected for a scholarship program at AITS. And then we were asked to work in teams, and also we were given some individual assignments on deep learning and ML projects. So for the 2 weeks while the scholarship program was on, so we were under a continuous evaluation. And finally, after successful completion of the 2 months of scholarship program, selected candidates were interviewed, and we were asked to explain about the projects that we had worked on. And also we were asked some concepts about ML, and some cross questions were asked about the projects that we had worked on. So my suggestion for everyone who is going to apply for internship is that we should, whether it is for an MNC or any startup, so it is very important to have our basics clear, and we need to understand the algorithms, and we also need to understand the why, when, and where. So where you want to apply the particular algorithm, or when to apply that algorithm. So you can easily gain this knowledge by working on projects. So I continuously worked on projects, and that's how I prepared myself for the interviews.
So I landed my first internship in January this year, and but I had some interviews before that, and yeah, I would like to share the experience from that interview. So basically, the questions asked me were simple. They were simple. They asked me like, what are my projects and how did I do those projects, and which all platforms did I use, and also they reviewed my code of the projects, and they asked that what does this specific line of code do, and yeah, and what are all my plans with the upcoming projects, and if they would have also they would give me situation. Suppose one of my project was driver drowsiness detection. So they asked me by giving a situation like, okay, suppose there's a situation, the length or threshold of the eyes are somewhat a given value, and in that case, what will you do and what algorithms would you use? And also they wanted to know about the basics, as Ashish said. Yeah, they wanted to know about your basics basically. I mean, if they are clear or not, or you're just just saying that you know everything but you really don't. So yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah, so the process was a bit different for my interview in Codework. Like, I have been working in Codework as a full stack engineer, I would say. Then they offered me a full time as a data scientist because they saw my contributions to open source and writing blogs and doing projects. So by that, I just got selected as a data science data scientist in Codework. And just like few months back, just I said you previously, I got a referral, and then I talked with the CEO of the startup. They were like, okay, and then he told me that showcase some of your projects. Then I showcased them. They were like, okay, then we are scheduling a meeting for you and as with the ML lead, just talk with them, have an interview and all the stuff. Then I also did that. They asked me pretty simple questions about probability, which I actually forgot about thing, and and then basic ML concept, which I was okay. I was able to answer, and then the thing which I am actually most interested or which I am most curious about, that is model optimization. They told me about pruning and quantization. I answered them and they were like, okay, thank you for the interview. We'll reach out to you. Then the HR call came and all the formalities were done. So yeah, this was my process of my two interviews which I gave.
Okay, so once you are in internship and once you start working, so what work do you get during that period? So I'll start first. So my responsibilities as an intern included working on deep learning projects and making deep learning models, which can be compiled on Edge compiler. So basically, the startup which I was working for, they had developed an Edge compiler. So I had to write I had to work on deep learning projects and I had to develop deep learning models and later compile it on their Edge compiler and see if some issues are coming up or not, and then resolving those issues and all. So I also got a chance to contribute to their Edge compiler, like working on various operators which are there in Python and which were to be converted to ONNX format. So that's what I did during my internship period.
I guess I can add. What I worked on was during my initial 2 months was fashion attribute API. So they automatic tagging of any fashion clothes down to L3, L4 levels. And what I was tasked with to improve that tool as I made more models and added on. So it was just validate the data. The data team collected the data, I had to validate it and then deploy it. But then after that I shifted more towards MLOps and started exploring that. And it's mostly experiment tracking, TVC, and model serving, and that is what I'm tweaking around these days, working with Selden and deploying models.
Yeah, so like in my in Codebug, I used to work in the computer vision team, and mainly my job is like ML engineer. I first create the model, then optimize it, and then I need to make that model well equipped for the mobile app so that it can work smoothly. And by that I use many optimization toolkit like TensorRT of TensorFlow. I have also explored TensorRT of NVIDIA and then OpenVINO toolkit. I use all of the stuff to actually optimize the model. And like this, the journey went by, and my job basically focused more on deploying stuff and creating stuff as well. So it was very fun task, as I love to do that. And in Jupyter Labs AI, I also did the same. I made an OCR, custom OCR model, then I implemented that in my Flutter app. It was integrated with the backend. I structured the whole system design, how everything will work, how will the face match work for the KYC part and all of the stuff. So it was a fun experiencing, and yeah, this was fun. Design.
I actually worked on building and deploying the brand normalization API. So it's basically fashion brands normalization API. So it takes in any noisy text of data, something like any fashion title. It can be something like, here in Adidas we have this pair of clothes, something like that. So it will just reduce it to something like Adidas, and there is no master brand list or something like that. It does that in a totally unsupervised kind of fashion. So there can be infinite samples like that. So not infinite, it will be finite, but it's a really large number. So yeah, it was a totally unsupervised work. And yeah, that was my kind of first task, I would say. And except that, I have also worked with Wikidata knowledge graphs, and I've also did some queries with SparkQL. With that, I actually had to verify that if the brand to which I have normalized those texts are actually brands or not. So for that, I was using Wikidata knowledge graphs, and yeah, that was it. And I also like managed and kind of cleaned properly the pipeline for the whole fashion attribute extraction API.
So in my first internship, we had simple work of predicting the data and using a Flask module to host that data to a user in a real time. And in my second internship is basically automation, basically where we have go to a website and through a Selenium, that is a library in Python, and through this library we can go to a website and navigate through this website and parse the data and download the data and taking the information of the PDF and XLS, maybe anything, and transferring that data into the databases where another multiple teams could use that data according to their usages.
Okay, I guess to wrap this up, I will ask like any tricks or tips or advice you need to like give to anyone who's applying to ML internships right now. I guess I'll start, and it's pretty it's a pretty neat trick, I guess. Pretty small thing, because like when I was applying, I faced a lot of discrimination because there wasn't as soon as they saw in your resume that you're from your second year, they automatically discarded it without like even seeing further like what kind of work that you do. So, and I like used this trick to get past it. I did not mention anywhere like what year I was in, and I just mentioned my university, and I think I got like more. I heard back more whenever like I used this trick. So yeah, it's something that you can try around with. And also like you should like take the full advantage of Twitter when you are if you are like really interested in ML and you want to like work on stuff, because every day I like see a tweet on from some like engineer be like, hey, I'm working on this tool idea, want to collaborate with me, and you can just DM them and it can turn into a freelance or contract. It doesn't have to be an internship per se. And another thing, you can actually work on like if you're interested in like Python data libraries like NumPy, SciPy, all of that you can work on like the open source part of it, and you can get paid for it. Because I remember like Quonsite which handles all this came out with an internship program, first ever internship program. I will link down the tweet which I found. It's a bit old, I guess it's a month old, but you can still reach out and see if they have more opportunities like this.
Yeah, so basically, I just want to give advice to the like there are two advices for different people, because those who want to go for research internship for outside or in India, they can just focus. Let's learn PyTorch very well, because people in research uses PyTorch, so it will help. And if you're looking for where you want to deploy a model and you want to deploy it easily, and if you want to work for a startup, then you can take up TensorFlow and go with that, because it will help you to easily deploy things rather than if you choose Python. But again, if you are looking for research internship, try to learn Python for that. And the second and the most important point is that doing project is okay, but it will give you an upper edge if you just reproduce the research paper with yourself. And the main advantage is that I'm actually biased towards TensorFlow, so I take research papers and just implement it in TensorFlow, because the main code is implemented in Python, so there is no code available for TensorFlow, so you can do that. So my now I am doing this thing only to be a better version of myself. I'm just implementing the research papers in TensorFlow and get the idea. And if you get stuck there, you can obviously contact the authors of the paper so they can help you out. And they are really awesome people. They will help you out for sure. So yeah, this much advice from myself.
Yeah, so I also want to add something to this. While in interview process, I mean, you should have a thorough knowledge of your project. For each and every line, you should know at least what that line is doing, because that is the main target. Sometimes your interviewer might ask and might attack you on. And yeah, it's simple and that. You should have a thorough knowledge of what your project is doing and how did you implement that. Nothing else.
Thus, I just want to add one thing: ki when you are making a project, make sure it is in a proper structure, and if it is on GitHub, it is proper structure, and add a video in the README if you have deployed it, or you can give the link as well. But if you haven't deployed, let's say you don't have that yet, but you can also add a video so that the people can check it out and can see that okay, this is the thing, this is the outcome, and this is the like input, and this is the outcome. So it will be very good and document the code properly.
Yeah, so from my side, I'd like to suggest that you need to work on your basics, uh, and also you need to start exploring ML ops because it is really important nowadays. You don't just learn how to train your ML model. You also need to uh, uh, deploy it into the industry and all, see how it is working. So that's it.
So I would like to say something. So okay, don't take it this much seriously, but it's like, please, at least for once in your life, derive back propagation by hand. Like, just even say for like to start with just one layer neural network, then like move on to two, three, four, like then maybe like at least have a target to someday like derive the back propagation for the CNNs. It's like one of the toughest back propagations ever to like derive. But I mean, you don't need it for any kind of interviews, except maybe Jan LeCun is gonna interview you, something like that. But yeah, you don't really need to derive by hand for any interview kind of thing, but it will give you some kind of a mental peace, and like you'll feel good. And yeah, so that was it, I guess. If you think this video provided any value to you, then do share it with your friends, and please subscribe to our channel DS Ticket, and follow our socials to see more upcoming contents like this. And thank you. Stay safe and bye.